South Africa's Home Affairs Minister has announced plans to toughen asylum and immigration laws. Aaron Motsoaledi says he's pushing for people to seek asylum in the first safe country they enter, meaning they could be denied asylum if they arrived in South Africa via other countries. South Africa's latest census recorded more than 2.4 million immigrants in the country last year. For more on this, CGTN's Yolisa Njamila sat down with the Home Affairs Minister and first asked him about the general immigration situation in the country.
I think we do have a crisis of migration in South Africa because it is extremely irregular and we've got a lot of illegal migration. Otherwise, in terms of regular legal migration, we don't have a problem at all. The problem is irregular illegal migration. It has reached a crisis point.
The last census, or the census from last year that was presented recently to the president, indicates that the actually millions of migrants who are in South Africa for economic reasons and asylum seekers, and therefore other reasons. What is the stats that you know of?
Look, I've repeated this many times, and I keep on repeating it. You cannot have statistics of people who are in your country illegally because you won't know them. If you knew them, they won't be illegal because they will be recorded. So we do have statistics of people who are asylum seekers. We do have statistics of people who are refugees. We do also have statistics of people who appear on a system called VAS or VAS, Visa Adjudication System. People who came to South Africa using any of the myriad of visas. South Africa has got more visas than any country I know, 17 of them. And there are lots of people who are here on those. But any other person who did not announce themselves to be inside South Africa is illegal, so we won't know their numbers. And the issue of Stats SA, I've also answered it many times because I specifically spoke to the Statistician General to explain, and he made it very clear that they've got no mandate, nor is it their job to determine refugee status, status of people inside the country.
Many have welcomed South Africa's spirit of welcoming, so to speak, whereby we often say everyone is welcome in South Africa and everyone has a right to live within the borders of South Africa. But it appears that South Africa is now regretting signing the UN Conventions on Refugees and Migrants. Is this the case?
It's absolutely not. At no time or in no area in the white paper do we mention ever regretting signing the UN conventions. All we are saying is we notice that when countries entered into the convention, they made use of Article 42, which allow countries to pose some reservations and exceptions in areas where they believe it's not good for their country or it's not possible for their country to do. And South Africa, unfortunately, did not put any of the reservations or exceptions. That's all we are saying. And we say we noticed that many countries did so. This is a disadvantage because it looks like we promised everything that will be able to provide everything. And when we fail, people read it as xenophobia.
Your ministry, the Home Affairs Ministry, has recently announced that you have plans to toughen up the asylum and immigration laws for that matter. Which aspects of the laws are you looking at?
What we are saying is that we need to press the reset button. We've looked at all the laws in that area which we passed since the advent of democracy and found lots and lots of gaps, weaknesses, and mistakes, omissions or even commissions. And we are talking here of the Citizenship Act that we passed in 1995. We are saying it must be repealed in its entirety, and we start from the beginning. We're also talking of the Refugee Act, which was passed in 1998. We are saying it must be repealed in its entirety, and we start from the beginning. And lastly, the Immigration Act that was passed in 2002. So these three acts were saying, let's start from the scratch. And we have got very good reasons why we are doing so. Let me give you a simple example of the Immigration Act. It was passed in 2002. It came into operation in 2004. That very same year, amendment started. Since that time, it was amended 5 times. You can no longer recognize it. And believe you me, we struggle. Even lawyers working inside this department, they will tell you it's very difficult to understand this act because it has been panel beaten so many times. Meaning what? Meaning that there was something wrong right from the beginning. And that which is wrong is that these acts were enacted separately without an overarching policy document. Now we are putting the white paper in the public as the overarching policy document. You need to have a foundation so that when you get out of line, you are able to see that, but that this is not in the policy document. At the moment, such a policy document doesn't exist. And that's what the white paper is trying to do.
So, Minister, the country also appears to regret the governing parties, which is the ANC, the governing party's open arm policy towards people, particularly from other African countries.
No, actually,
would that assessment rather be a fair reflection?
No, absolutely. It's not only unfair, it's just outright wrong. Because if you read the whole white paper, nowhere does it isolate people from the African continent alone. People who are here, when I talk about migration, illegal or what, are from all over the world, not only from the African continent. And so the white paper is not about isolating people from a particular part of the world. It's talking about people who come to South Africa from other destinations. In fact, on the contrary, we also show in the white paper that if you read the OAU convention, which was passed in 1969, it is much more stringent than what we are doing in actually defining how refugees, the issue of refugees must be handled by various countries on the continent. So the white paper is about any migration from any part of the world, not necessarily isolating any part like the African continent or Southeast Asia, where quite a number of people who are coming to South Africa are coming from. We've got lots and lots of Chinese people here. We've got lots and lots of people from Indian origin. We've got lots and lots of Pakistanis, etc., etc.